guys, how you going? So today on BKRsport, we are back for another one of these rugby league tier maker videos. And today we're going to be doing the fullbacks. Now, fullbacks is a very, very interesting position because you may think it's easy. And this is usually where most of the talk comes from, because fullbacks obviously garner a lot of attention down the back there because they're very individualized. But as we've been looking here, it's actually not as easy as you may think, especially to put them in all 5 different tiers. But today, guys, as you guys know, we do one of these with all different content creators on here. We've done some with Clarkey, we've done with Entertain House, Rugby League in my opinion. And today we've got a nice little up-and-coming Rugby League YouTube, Paddy G. How you going, champion?
Thanks for having me on. A lot of top-quality fullbacks, so this will be very interesting.
Exactly right, man. There is a lot of quality fullbacks right now, and it is very difficult to, especially considering, like, a lot of them have been classed as elite by, like, the general consensus of people. But for me, like, elite is, like, just the best. I can't see putting more than 3 in the elite column because otherwise it just gets too, overpopulated. Do you reckon the same thing?
Well, yeah, when I was doing it, you would almost chuck, like, all these players in at least either, at the very least, quality or probably do the job, but there's so many quality fullbacks, you sort of have to differentiate who is the best out of the lot.
Exactly right. And also, one of the rules is that we do have to find at least one for every category. So there is not that great here, obviously. Yeah. And also for everyone out there, you will have a different opinion on us, like just straight up. Let us know in the comments section what your opinion is. Love to see it. Also smack that thumbs up button. Yeah, let's get into this, man. And let's start figuring them out. But first up here, we got the big fella, my boy, AJ Brimo, mate. AJ Brimson. What are you thinking?
Poor AJ, he's had to deal with a lot of injuries at the start of his career, but there's no doubt his future's so bright. But for the moment, I know he played well on the back end of the season, and he played well in game 1 of Origin, in my opinion. But at least...
Oh, yeah, Origin game 1 was ridiculous. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah.
But at least for now, I reckon you put him maybe just at the bottom of quality or the top of do the job.
I would throw in quality. I would say that coming out of last year, he only played half the year, obviously. So it's not exactly a great read of last year, but in the same sense, he only played half the year, still made the Origin team. I know he got injured again. Injuries might be a damn well problem with AJ, to be honest with you. But in the same sense, like, this guy is just breeding talent there, and he looks so good. Won the last 5 games in a row. The Titans looked pretty average until he came back, and then when he came back, he started really helping this team actually find that X factor, find that spark. So for me, man, I wouldn't put him any lower than quality. But it just depends. Yeah, there's a lot of, like, for me, I think. I personally have him around 5'6" at the moment in regards to the whole league. I honestly think that coming forward, he's about 5'6". So I definitely wouldn't put him in elite yet. I think he will be in his career, but I'd say quality. So we're locking in quality?
Yeah, we'll lock in quality. I've got him around that 6th to 7th mark as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so around there, yeah. So yeah. AJ Brimson goes into quality. Next up, we got the Canberra Raiders, Charnze Nicoll-Klokstad. Look, I think that he's obviously quality as well, man, but there's I think he's definitely in quality.
Yeah, I would say quality too, but yeah,
I'm trying to figure out if he's more than AJ or below AJ.
Maybe just, I know it's it's wrong to do injuries and stuff, but just off consistency, you might chuck him above AJ.
Yeah, maybe. Well, maybe because we've got more to back off right now. Like, we've got more to actually read on than AJ so far. Yeah. Like, AJ is still very young in his career, and so is Klokstad as well. So I think that from what we've seen so far, Klokstad right this second should probably go above. I'd say so, yeah.
He's had a really good 2 first years with the Raiders.
Yeah, of course. And the Raiders are obviously a quality team, and if you're a quality team, you need a quality fullback, man, and he definitely gets the job there. Now, this next one is quite a difficult one. This one's quite a difficult one because I could honestly argue 3 here. I could honestly argue 3. Clint Gutherson, what are you thinking?
I think he's either got to be in the bottom of elite or the top of quality. I know he had a really good, this season, but he's just, when you compare him to, spoiler alert, James Tedesco and the other, top quality fullbacks, he's just a bit behind them.
Yeah. Yeah, look, for me, I wouldn't put him in elite personally. I think, obviously, everyone knows who's watching this video that Tedesco is getting into number 1. So it's not really too much of a spoiler there. But, I think that the reason why I say 3 is that you could argue that he could be at very bottom of elite. You could definitely argue that he'll be in quality. And you could even argue that you could argue very top to do the job. Now, I wouldn't put him there, but he just has that kind of factor where one game he'll be absolutely unbelievable and do all the little things and do the big things as well. And then you have the other game where he'll kind of just do the job, and it'll just kind of be average, and the Eels won't do much at all, and he won't be directing anything, and it'll be just a really bland performance. So that's why I feel like you could argue that. But I think we'd put him in quality. I think he'd be mid-ranger, though. I wouldn't put him above Klokstad. I personally wouldn't put him above. I'd put him above AJ for now because obviously he does the little things right now. But I think come next year, AJ would be above him.
I reckon just the fact he was the Dally M fullback of the year.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
I have to chuck him above Charnze, but yeah, Gutho, he had a really good start to last season, as did the whole Parramatta side. But when it came like towards the back end, when they did struggle, he definitely was one of those players who struggled for him.
Well, I think obviously later on we can move this around if we see fit, but I'll put him above there for now. I agree. So we've got 3 players in quality already. There we go. So next up we got Rabbitohs, Corey Allan. I personally obviously think he's decent, but I wouldn't be putting him in a position alongside the lads that we've already mentioned. I'd personally put him in do the job.
Yeah, well, you say do the job because, that's what he does. But when you compare him to the other fullbacks and when we have to chuck some of these players in these categories, he's probably at the lower tier in terms of where you rank him.
Not that great.
Yeah, you might.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I'd agree. That's why I was like mid-lower. I'll do the job.
Yeah, I'd probably chuck him at the top of not that great. And, he's only had he hasn't had like a full season at fullback. So it'll be interesting to see how he does go at the Doggies this year.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, yeah, gee whiz, he's at the Dogs. Gee whiz, I forgot about that. Because obviously some of these guys here, they still have the jerseys on of the teams that they used to be in. So I just automatically clicked on for Rabbitohs there. But yeah, I think you could even make an argument. You could even make an argument for Unproven, but I think that because of what you said, that we don't really have too many here that we can put in this area compared to the other guys. We're not saying that he's a bad player as such. We're just saying that he's probably on the lower end of what we've currently got in the league. Because if you're in the league, you're a great player, but like just on the lower end right now. So next up, we go to the pennies. Pennies, Dylan Edwards. Dylan Edwards. For me, I would. This is in regards to exactly the same thing, exactly the same conversational point that we just spoke about. No, you know what? I'm going to put another guy in not that great. So I would put him on lower end than do the job.
Yeah, I was going to say put him in do the job. He is probably at the lesser tier of these fullbacks, but, he was very important to that Penrith side in making to the grand final. Like, not as important as Coruscant or Cleary or Luai, but he set up a lot of tries and he's a good contributor for that team. And I think, maybe putting him with Corey Allan, no disrespect to Corey Allan, is a bit low, but I think maybe the middle to bottom end to do the job is fair.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I say this as well is because in regards to the next player, I'm going to be putting him in not that great. And it's Jamayne Isaako here. And the reason why I do this, and I know Broncos fans are going to be like, you're a biased Titans fan. I'm not. I just don't think he's the right guy for you guys. I really think that he just doesn't really do the job for me. And that's obviously what you need to put him in do the job. So for me, I'd be putting in Jamayne Isaako in that not great category simply because also the Broncos just aren't that great at the moment. You can't really argue a key core position like your fullback from a team that came last. You can't put him in anything above do the job, and I couldn't put him in do the job personally.
Nah, and especially considering the year the Broncos had, and just like the same with Corey Allan, when you compare him to every other fullback on this list, no offense to Jamayne Isaako, and it'll be interesting how he goes in 2021, but he's definitely probably in the bottom tier of these fullbacks. So I reckon probably behind.
I'd put him behind Corey Allan. Yeah, I'd put him. I would. I'd probably put him in last in regards to this list so far, to this list. But next up, we've got James Tedesco. So let's obviously just move him straight to the elite.
Yeah.
There's no argument here. Like, what do you think of Tedesco, man?
Probably since Cameron Smith has retired that we know of, he's probably now the best player in the world. 2 premierships at the Roosters. I know they have a stacked team, but he's the best player on that stacked team. He's just a freak. People say in an average season in 2020, he had his average games are better than most of these fullbacks' best games. You know what? It's because I do my streams and stuff like that. And at the beginning of the season, I was like, he's not looking that great, but he's still getting a lot of the highest stats in the team. When you look at the team stats, he's doing a lot. He was, I can't remember what specific stats I'm talking about here, but he was literally top for a lot of them last season. And yet everyone says he didn't
do as good previously. So the point of the matter is that like he is just so phenomenal that even when he's average, he is still better than most of these other guys. So I think you couldn't argue him any lower than elite. And honestly, you'd probably put him in number one, but there is a couple of guys that you could argue there too. So next up, we got Kalyn Ponga. Well, what are you thinking with Kalyn?
Tricky one for Kalyn. I really do love watching him play. He may be just a bit overhyped, obviously, because he's so popular with the fans and stuff, and he's such a fun player to watch.
Has a really good community rapport, yeah.
Yeah, but I reckon at least quality. You can't put him in.
I think the reason why as well is that everyone loves a bit of, magic. Everyone loves a bit of that X factor. And that's why I think AJ coming to the future will obviously grow. But I think with Kalyn, yeah, he's definitely quality. But I think the reason why he's loved so much is because of his step and because of the fact that he brings something, different to the game. Even though obviously steps are always a part of it, but not everyone can put a good step on. So he's basically the guy who, I know Dan and Kemp was the guy who created it, but Dan and Kemp did the goosey with Kalyn, didn't he?
Yeah, wasn't it? It was probably when he did that. Remember he did that massive 1-on-4 in a Magic round in 20.
Yeah.
Best highlight of the year. He's a phenomenal athlete, Kalyn Ponga.
He's a great athlete, and I would put him at the top end of quality, like above everybody else.
Yeah, I would. I just think maybe not elite yet, but in terms, he's definitely above those people in quality.
Next up, man, this is going to be an interesting one. Lattrel Mitchell. Obviously, he really made a name for himself at the centre position. And honestly, for me, I'd put him really high up if he was playing centre because I thought he was phenomenal when he was with the Roosters there. But now he's at the fullback. And I think this year is going to be, 2021 is going to be the year that we get to see what goes on specifically with Lattrel. I don't think he's had that much... I don't think he's had that much time to prove himself just yet, to be completely honest with you, considering injuries and stuff like that. But when he was on the field, he did pretty decent. He still did quality. What do you think?
Well, with Lattrel Mitchell, he did have a shaky start and there was a lot of media pressure on him. And unfortunately for him, as he got going, he got injured for the rest of the season towards the back end of it. But he was getting up there. But in terms of where you would rank him among these these fullbacks, he's definitely probably, in my opinion, not even in quality. Like, if we're doing centers, he'd be up there, but not at the moment.
See, that's why I think, and I understand why you say that. That's why I think we could honestly put him in unproven. Because last year was his first year at fullback, yeah?
Yeah. No, I think he had one with the Roosters, but he was like 19 or something.
Well, yeah. So, yeah, but he was obviously predominantly center there. So I think that, considering that, looking at all these guys here as well, I think that it's a bit too early in regards to Lattrel. So I think if we're going to find anybody here in this position that could be put in the unproven, I think this year is going to be the year for him. So I'm putting him unproven, but so would you agree or disagree?
Well, yeah, when you compare him to the rest of these guys, he's probably definitely got the least experience at fullback. So if you have to chuck someone in unproven, it's probably him.
There you go. But I'm looking for a big year, hopefully. Not inconsistent year, but I'm looking for a big one. But we'll chuck him in unproven so we've got someone. Mm-hmm. Next up, we've got Dufty. Matt Dufty, the Dragons. Ew, not looking the greatest this year, the old Drags. What are you thinking?
Matt Dufty, he's like not as good as Ponga, obviously, but he can break a game open. But in my opinion, he's probably can do the job.
I'd put him top end to the job. Yeah, I don't even know if I'd say top end to the job. But then again, compared to what we've only got one player there right now, so I'd put him above Dylan Edwards.
Yeah, I'd put him above Dylan Edwards.
Yeah, there we go. Alrighty, so next up, there's Matty Moylan. This is a very, very interesting one because he had so much talent when he was at the Panthers and he had so many raps, but then he's kind of gone downhill a bit. Now, I've heard a lot of good reports about him in the offseason and he's really putting a grind in and putting himself into the grind of rugby league, obviously, and the people are liking the looks of him. Like, I can't really go off anything besides what we've seen recently. And what we've seen recently is that he would be top end, not that great. But he also has the potential to be quality. So what would you say in response to that?
I would just say that Matt Moylan at Penrith, he'd definitely probably be in quality. But as of the moment, he's dealing with a lot of injuries and he hasn't been able to be on the park. And even when he has been, because he hasn't had much experience with the Cronulla Sharks in the past couple of years, when you compare him to everyone else, he's probably going to be at the top of not that great.
Yeah, I think the only reason he goes top and not that great as well is because of his potential. I think if we're going off what we've seen as well, I'd even put him below Corey Allan. But I think based on the fact that he still has that spark about him that could, come out, I think that we could put him above Corey.
Yeah, I'd chuck him above Corey.
Alrighty, so next up we move into the El Tigres, the Tigers. We got Moses Mbye. What are you thinking?
Moses Mbye, he's a one of those players who suffers from where he can play a lot of backline positions, but to me, from what we've seen at fullback, he's just not that great.
That's the thing, and I know Tigers fans aren't going to like it, but he's just not. Like, and he also mixes between halves positions all the time and goes fullback position, and it's just a very confusing thing. So obviously, Moses, if you do end up watching this at some point, like, I hope you get better and prove us wrong. Please prove us wrong. But I personally have him. I have him below Corey Allan too for me.
Yeah, I'd have him below Corey Allan.
I have him above Jamayne though.
Yeah, I'd have him above Jamayne. But yeah, poor Moses Mbye. He's had a few good games, but like I said, I'm a broken record. But when you just compare him to the other fullbacks, he's nowhere near the caliber.
Exactly right. So next up, we'll go into Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. This one's a pretty easy one for me. Where do you think?
I think he's elite.
Yeah, spot on. I think you couldn't argue against it, to be honest with you. Obviously, if someone's getting the raps in New Zealand rugby union as well, like for the switch, to potentially play for the All Blacks, you've got quality. If another sport is trying to grab one player and put them into their predominant national sport, there's a big chance this guy's quality. And he does so many things for the Warriors. And this will be a massive hurt if he does go over there, which I think he said he will. And I just think he is just such a phenomenal player at the back. He directs the play from behind. He's fast. He just brings, I don't even know if it's necessarily as much of an X factor anymore as it used to be, but he brings everything you need to a team that will get you the wins, and he just needs the extra help around him to get into the top 8, basically.
Yeah, well, 2018 Dalian medalist. He's always up there in terms of the best fullbacks every year. And he's, unfortunately for him, had to go away from his flashy stuff because he just does so much. And I know everyone says it, but he's pretty much had to carry the Warriors the past couple of seasons.
Oh, 100%. 100%, yeah.
Now that they've got a good roster and they got Allan Blake, who I think is a really good pickup for him, if they can get those forwards can get on a front row, he's going to cause some damage out the back.
Exactly right. It's going to be a very interesting season for the Warriors because I get a little bit confused about them going. I'll do a prediction video before the season starts for everyone watching. But yeah, it's confusing about the Warriors this year. But I do think they'll be definitely pushing for it. So next up, we'll obviously go with Puppy Ryan Papenhuyzen. I'd go from what I saw last year. Honestly, he can definitely be elite very soon. Very soon. But I don't think he's had enough time to prove that he's elite yet. So I'd honestly, from what I'm seeing right now, I'd put him above Ponga.
Yeah, I'd put him above Ponga too. What I was going to say was he had a really good season in 2020. Probably the best player in the final series, Clive Churchill medalist in that. But, like you did with your Clarkey in the hooker one with Harry Grant, just hasn't proved himself over more than one season yet.
Yeah.
So
exactly right.
I reckon top of quality for me.
Yeah, we obviously, if he does it again this year, I think we have to put him in elite. But, for the time being, he's right at the top there. So next up, this is so difficult because Tommy Trbojevic, I love this guy. I do. He's honestly my favourite fullback when healthy. But the key words there is when healthy. This guy's never healthy, man.
Oh, well, as a Manly fan, if you couldn't already tell, he 83% win record across the past 2 years or something ridiculous like that. Completely changed Origin in 2019. He's an absolute freak. And when he is healthy, we all do compare him to James Tedesco.
Well, when he's healthy, he's in elite. When he's healthy, he's in elite.
No, that's the only problem, though, is if he can be healthy. Like, if he's healthy this year, I think, probably biased, but Manly, maybe top 8 side at least.
Dude, I tipped you guys to win the comp last year. Jeez, man. It's tough. I tipped him to win the comp, and I thought they had the best team. And then obviously he was injured, and I guess Cherry Evans couldn't get anything going, really, despite being unbelievable. And, that the team was just a mess last year. So I think just wipe the memory of 2020 for Manly, and then this is a fresh start. And I genuinely believe they're being underrated. I think that Manly are being underrated this year because, but then again, it comes down to Trbojevic.
Yeah, if he's healthy, look, I just said an 83% win record across the past 2 years.
Yeah,
when he's healthy, he's a game changer. In my opinion, when he's healthy, he's probably the best player in the world. But that's a different topic. But for right now, I reckon just off what he has done, even though he is injured, you got to put him in elite. Not above Roger or Teddy, but in elite. But what do you think?
I think that for me, he is elite. It's just so difficult because I look at Puppy and I'm like, you know what? He looks like he is absolutely coming and he's knocking on the door of elite. I'm pretty happy to chuck him The only reason I'm putting him bottom end of elite is because of his injuries. Otherwise, for me, I actually have him as number one, personally.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people argue Tedesco and obviously Tuivasa-Sheck as well. These three are always interchanging. It's just as simple as that. But for me, right now, you put him bottom elite.
You always get told when you do live streams, and even me, I get asked, rank the top 3 fullbacks, and it's always Teddy, Roger, and Tom. Exactly. And for Tom to be injured so much and still be in that conversation is amazing.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, look, I'm happy with that. I think people may comment about that. But guys, it's obviously all about opinions here. So let us know in the comment section if you have a different opinion. But finally, we go to the Cowboys. And we've got a player that used to be classed as probably top end quality. Could have been even elite, to be honest with you. But he's not been as good, especially last year. But then again, it's like he's a little bit unproven too, because he is coming back from the NFL and was on the wing when he was at the Sharkies and stuff like that. And now he's fullback. What would you say about this? Is a difficult one.
Yeah, well, he comes in, I know preseason is a big thing, and he comes in the middle of it. He's told you're nearly not the most important position in my opinion, but one of the most important positions. Yeah. And you could chuck him in Unproven. And, the fact is he has to get dumped for a couple of games and played wing and center, and he got injured a couple of times. So you could honestly chuck him in Unproven, or you could chuck him, in my opinion, if we didn't chuck him in Unproven, probably do the job.
I'd put him top end to the job right now. Yeah. But the thing is that we argued for Lattrel for Unproven for the exact same reasons, basically. That literally the exact same reasons is why we put Lattrel in Unproven. Yeah. In the same sense, I just think that I know more about what I'm going to see from Valentine than I know what I'm going to see from Lattrel. I think this year we're going to see a lot of what we're going to see from Lattrel, and this year, I think I know what I'm going to see with him. In my opinion, do you think you know what you're going to see from him, or do you think that we could still see better or worse?
I think we'll see a more improved Valentine Holmes. I don't think if you can get to the level of the quality or elite fullbacks, but you never know in the NRL, do you? But
I think if he went to wing, I think we'd be chucking him up there. But obviously, he is in that position, that fullback.
Yeah, well, for the Cowboys to be successful in 2021, he has to be one of the better fullbacks in the competition. So there's a lot of pressure on him. But for right now, I reckon either Chopper do the job, or because, I feel like it's a bit unfair, you chuck him in Unproven with Lattrel.
I guess I think we put him top end and do the job. It makes the list more well-rounded, obviously. So then we have 3 top, 5 middle, 5 in quality, 3 in do the job, and then 4 in not that great with 1 in Unproven. I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah,
I think that makes it well-rounded. But yeah, man, I'm pretty happy with this. There is obviously some ones that people might have different opinions on, but I don't think you could disagree too much with this list, I guess. I guess it just comes down to kind of potential and stuff like that. But we're doing this based on what we think going forward. We're doing this based on how they are now, and those guys are not that great. They need to obviously prove a lot more going into this year. Do you agree?
Yeah, there's a few players right now that are already class. But fullbacks, these guys, all of them here are so important to how their teams go in 2021. And it'll just be interesting to see. I'm really excited to see Lattrel Mitchell with the whole season. The contract stuff, I know it's started back up again, but I'm really excited to see.
Well, I've said this in a couple of these team makers now, that with all the Rabbitohs, especially in the backs, this is the year for them to prove themselves, because obviously they're basically favourites going into this year. Everyone's talking about them being the favourites. So I think that this is the year that if they're not good, then it comes down to the fact that the backs aren't scoring as many tries as everyone believed they would, and that will obviously come down and affect your Lattrels, your not Paddy G, your Lattrels and your centres and stuff like that, and the wingers there. So this is a huge year for their backs at the Rabbitohs, and it's gonna be very interesting to see how they go. But that's gonna do us for today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. Obviously, massive thanks to Paddy G. Where can everyone find you, man?
Yeah, just look up YouTube, Paddy G. I'm there. If you want a bit more footy, NRL, rugby league content, then just go subscribe, watch a few of my videos, see if you like them or not, and chuck me a follow on Instagram. You'll find a link in one of my videos.
Yeah, you kind of do more of the reaction videos to the big news that is happening, right?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a news reactioner. I do a bit of Rugby League Live 4, obviously the video game.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, Rugby League Live 4.
Yeah, so if you just like a bit more footy, who can get enough of footy? Just
exactly right, man.
Subscribe and watch a video.
Exactly right. Well, obviously, yeah, that's going to do us for today, guys. This is how many videos we've gone now? So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is coming out. This is the fifth. This is the fifth one we've done here. So we've still got quite a few positions to go, guys. So definitely, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, check the notification bell on so that you know when it's coming up. We are smashing out streams this year as per usual. But as you guys can see, well, you can't really see. I'm in the corner. But as you guys know, I'm in quarantine right now. I'm getting out in literally a couple of days' time. So I'm going to be smacking out vlogs again this year. Something that obviously I missed out on last year. I'm very much looking forward to that. But I'm going to jump off for now. I hope you have enjoyed. Smack a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.